This is KSUT Regional News. The Trump administration is cracking down on wind energy development. As the Mountain West News Bureau's Hannah Merzbach reports, that includes wind farms where turbines are killing eagles.
Specifically golden eagles, which are brown with golden feathers. Research shows the number colliding with turbine blades has more than doubled in the last decade or so.
It's not the leading source of mortality, but it is one of the things we're looking at.
Brian Bedrosian with the Teton Raptor Center says wind farms are a real threat to the species, though eagles are often weaponized in political debates. The Trump administration has already been slowing wind development on federal land through other means. It now says it's upping enforcement of the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, which prohibits killing the birds without a permit.
It detracts from the real conservation needs that the species has.
Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum wrote on X that the administration wants to ensure the birds aren't sacrificed for, quote, unreliable wind facilities. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Hannah Merzbach.
Invasive Japanese beetles have been especially active along Colorado's Front Range this summer. The insects are about the size of a coffee bean and are a metallic green color. They eat turf grass as grubs, and mature adults feed on a wide variety of plants, especially horticultural crops like fruits, vegetables, and flowers, along with trees. Wandrad Gabru with the Colorado Department of Agriculture says they are working to stop the beetles from taking hold on Colorado's western slope, particularly in Mesa County, where orchards and vineyards could be at risk.
We are in the third year of treatment. We see a reduction in population and the number of beetle caught in traps. And then we are also seeing some new areas that the treatment area need to be expanded. So it's expensive, and then it's also a long-term commitment.
The Colorado Department of Agriculture is also enforcing a quarantine to restrict the movement of certain plant materials from the Front Range to the western slope. Colorado stands to lose big with proposed cuts to NOAA that could shutter two major research institutes. Both play a key role in studying the effects of climate change. Here's KGNU's Susan Moran with the story.
There's a reason that NOAA is in the Department of Commerce. It's because understanding our environment has direct impacts on commerce, the economy, prosperity. So it's tied to human well-being, safety, the protection of lives and property. It's also tied to our ability to prosper by understanding the environment within which we live. So there's no partisan dimension to that. Everybody, I think, can agree that understanding the environment helps us manage challenges and helps us capitalize on opportunities. And sometimes this is just cast too much, in my view, in terms of, there's a lot of bad stuff coming and we've got to prepare for it. When the reality is, I think if we step back and just objectively look at the value of understanding our environment, how it's changing, why it's changing, and what those implications are, has tremendous benefit for people in Colorado, people in the country, people throughout the world.
Like, would an example be developing more accurate modeling that can produce the data that's used in forecasting?
Certainly.
Weather, for instance?
And we do that here in Boulder. The improvements to weather forecasting have their roots in research into the processes that shape weather. And so improving the lead time on weather forecasts and the accuracy, understanding what's coming when and how bad or good. Again, I don't want to keep this in the negative. The environment will be for certain activities, whether it's day-to-day planning or when to harvest crops, understanding what the seasonal outlook is going to look like, or in the case of urban planners, for example, knowing what the environment is going to be in the life of the infrastructure that you're developing. So a decade, two or more into the future, understanding those elements, those considerations is critical in all of those spaces. So it's our day-to-day lives, and it's our societal planning as well.
Really important. And we're in a critical, I wouldn't say transition, but sort of lead into this Appropriations Committee deciding on the funding for the overall fiscal 2026 budget. And that fiscal year, begins October 1st. I know you've been quite involved also on Capitol Hill. We'll get to that. But could you just give a snapshot of, like, what do the numbers look like? I know it's been sort of a whipsaw chain of events from February or so on to now, but like the actual percentage of cuts that are proposed now.
So it starts with the president's budget request. The president submits a budget request to Congress, which is just that, a request. The power of the purse rests with Congress, but the White House always presents a budget request and says, these are our priorities as an administration. We're asking you to support them. And then Congress takes that and says, thank you very much.
Go for it, spend wisely.
We'll consider it,
Or don't.
and we'll take it from here, Mr. President. So the president's budget request has major cuts to science, to all the science agencies, to NOAA in particular. It explicitly seeks to close the cooperative institutes, which is what I run, a cooperative institute that works closely with NOAA offices, NOAA laboratories. And it seeks to eliminate the Office of Oceanic and Atmospheric Research, which is, the R&D arm of NOAA. So these forecasts, these understanding the environment, whether it be for fisheries or, again, weather forecasts, seasonal forecasts, understanding climate evolution. It seeks to largely eliminate all of that. On the NASA side, there's a lot of NASA activity in Colorado. It seeks to eliminate 55 science missions, most of which are in space now. So the upfront investment has been made. It seeks to turn some of them off and just stop the maintenance costs basically associated with them. So major cuts to science, the National Science Foundation, National Institutes of Health, others, Department of Energy, Office of Science. So that's the president's budget request. Congress has taken that and has largely restored, not fully, but largely restored in its proposed budget, both in the House and Senate, much of that funding. So the House is a little more in line with the president's budget request. The Senate more aggressively or more actively preserves a lot of the science support. So in a normal environment, the two chambers of commerce come together, say, well, we propose this, you propose that, let's figure out and reach a compromise and produce a budget. So while the House is closer to the president's budget request, it's still quite a bit less draconian in its cuts. So it is my hope that as Congress goes through its process, we'll land somewhere in between, as we have through centuries of this process. It isn't clear, however, the degree to which the White House may shift some of the thinking when the ultimate votes and negotiations are carried out.
Dr. Walid Abdali was speaking with KGNU's Susan Moran, and that report was shared with us via the Rocky Mountain Community Radio Coalition, which includes KSUT Public Radio. This